We're going to get right into it today, Brian. So the first article we're going over today is from CNBC. The salary of a family of four that needs to get by in every U.S. state, it's more than $150,000 in the most expensive one. So there's a whole list here, okay?
This is concerning.
All 50 states. So I'm going to start with California because we're in California. So let's just talk about that one really quick. It says the California annual income needed for a family of four is $138,357. Now, that is in fourth position. There are three other states that have a higher annual income needed. In Connecticut, you need $139,924. In Massachusetts, you need $150,578, and New York, $139,504. Now, most people will go, "Oh, New York, it's $139." Well, New York City, yes, is baked into the New York number, but like New York has a lot of perimeter. There's a lot else to the state of New York than just New York City. But I think it definitely tilts it higher on that side. But I mean, check that out, man. There's California coming at the number 4 spot, and 3 that are higher. It's nuts.
I was looking at the list of all of the states, and what stood out to me is that out of the 50 states, there's only 10 states of which are under $100,000.
Isn't that nuts?
And it's not like 60K. No, it's like 98, 88.
Not 90. 96.
Oh, look, it's under 100,000. But come on, now you just rounded up.
Okay,
You're right
look,
there.
96,000, 90,000. You got 98, 95, 94. Let's see.
Okay.
97. Yeah, 96, 97, and 94. Yeah, 88. Exactly. So
it's still on the high end.
this is a reflection of a ton of data.
Yeah.
Right now, this is representative of all these states, which is, I understand there's like a statistical variance that it's going to be inaccurate to the upside downside by a certain percentage. Every number's like that. This is just really us facing the truth and the seriousness of what affordability looks like in America right now.
Yeah.
And at least when it comes to these that are listed, I think I said something wrong. I took Hawaii. I'm sorry, I missed out on Hawaii. Hawaii is at 147,000. So California is actually 5th on the list.
How can we
fourth.
forget Hawaii?
Sorry, Hawaii is actually 5th.
Sorry, Hawaii.
Here's what's also interesting: of the places that could be the most expensive, I guess if I was to like just immediately go out without looking at all this, I would have thought it would be like Hawaii or New York number 1 and 2, and then everyone else, but like Massachusetts number 1. So
that's what I thought. And then Connecticut too. I was just kind of like, what's going on over there?
Well, because it's proximity to DC. So
makes sense.
Same thing with Massachusetts.
That makes sense.
So I think
East Coast.
I think it's that. Yeah.
Interesting.
So in Mississippi came in the bottom. That's what you're saying. The 88,000. I mean the point of this little exercise here is that the cost difference really comes down to housing. It comes down to housing and it comes down to taxes.
Yeah.
So as cited in the article, the cost difference between states is largely due to housing and taxes, which can be as much as 3 times higher depending on where you live, especially if you reside in a major city like Los Angeles or New York, San Diego.
Yeah, we're
San Diego.
We're in
I
there
mean,
now.
there was an article. Was it last week or 2 weeks ago? We're talking about like these highest priced median price per square foot, and San Francisco was not on the list.
Surprisingly,
that was weird, right? So just as much as this one saying, yeah, so it might be as much as 3 times the high because of places like L.A. and New York. San Francisco is commonly thought of as one of those places, but even that article a couple weeks ago, it was not. And in this one, they're not referencing San Francisco, but it's California as a whole is the point.
And what I think is just crazy is that, $88K a year is basically what you need for the cheapest state. But on average, people don't even make that.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, let's see. From the research group Motio, it says basic expenses for a family of 4 in all states exceeds what most U.S. households typically earn, which is estimated to be a median $78,171. So that means everyone earning above that and below that, the exact center point is $78,000.
That's a mortgage payment depending on where you buy for the whole year.
Hold on, that's crazy.
That's exactly what I was trying to drive. That it's like I'm working with clients. They have a fixed salary of let's say 65K. That's just gonna pay for the mortgage,
dude. Okay, hold on. No, keep talking. I'm gonna do the math on this.
Yeah, exactly. Okay? So when I had some clients come in, it was 3, 4. It was a family of 4, and they basically, they're like, "Hey, so we want to buy a house, but we don't know whether if we're able to buy it on our own, like each one of us, or if it's best that we all buy together." And one of them made 45, the other one made 55, and the other one I believe was around like 61. Case being that they came out combined income of 160 if they put all their incomes together. Now, if they were to buy separately, none of them was going to get approved for anything because of the fact that their DTI was too high and the mortgage payment was essentially basically their whole salary for the year.
Okay, so I did $78,000 exactly. I chopped off that 171. So if you use 78,000 divided by 12, it's $6,500 a month. Look at that. $6,500 a month right here. Now, you were saying they make their combined income's what, 161?
It was 162. I think it came up to 160. Let's just say
that's fine. Let's just do 160 for easy round number's sake.
Yeah.
So divide that by 12. That's a gross income of $13,333. So 6,500 into 13,333 is 48%. Oh my gosh, so 48%.
I mean, and that's pre-tax.
Yeah, that's gross.
Yeah,
so we're talking gross numbers. That's gross.
That's gross.
That sucks. I'm sorry. I'm laughing because I'm uncomfortable that that's just the state that we're at. I mean, it's hard because it's what we do, and yes, here in San Diego, and again, I have to qualify this because it's like there are a lot of people that we're helping that are active duty military or they're veterans and they are getting some sort of financial benefit because of their veteran status.
Yes.
That's helping them afford to stay here in San Diego, buy here in San Diego, buy and sell here in San Diego, or keep the place they already have. Because of the cost of living adjustment for active duty military, it means that people are still qualifying here in town, which if you're not active duty military, that makes it harder for you in some senses because that means you have to have an equivalent income to stay here and compete when that money is coming in tax-free on the BAH side. Not that it's not bad. I'm just saying that's what you're competing against. So this just continues upping the ante for staying here in San Diego.
And even if this is what you need to be able to afford a place in these states, you still can only use 50% of it, 55 if depending on what product you use. But I think it's just insane because, like you said, I don't want to sound like I'm laughing at it, but at the same time, it's just so obscene that this is happening because it's like, yearly salaries are being paid for mortgage payments and living.
Yeah, I mean that's like you and your wife being married. And like, okay, one of us is working for the house, and the rest of us, one of us is working for the rest of our life.
Paying,
for the rest of our monthly expenses of our life. Yeah, it is also I think notable because so many of the states, like you mentioned at the beginning here, are above 100,000. I mean, I
think that's just ridiculous.
Well, in some places like. Okay, here's one that I was surprised by. And maybe you can share one or two that you're surprised by. Like Missouri. Missouri, $101,000. Like I was honestly surprised Missouri was over $100,000.
Nebraska at 106?
I know. And again, I'm not saying this because I think those places are terrible or they suck. I'm surprised by it because it's all, I mean, look at, okay, Wyoming, 101. Wisconsin, 112. You have, here's another one. You have, Utah, I kind of understand. Pennsylvania, 115. Ohio, 104. North Dakota, 101. North Carolina, 104. I mean, and it's just everywhere.
And for us being here in California, we think, California is the worst. California is the worst. And you start looking, you're like,
Well, and this is family of 4.
Yeah.
What about a family of 5 or a family of 6 or a family that has a senior with them that's more expensive as well?
And that's also very true.
I mean, this is still just a family of 4, right?
And price points in other states are, significantly lower than here in California, but you're still needing this amount of income to be able to get into those properties.
Right. But I mean, dude, Indiana, 102, Iowa, 105. These are not places that I would have thought coming into this part of our conversation, a lot of these Midwest places, I would not go, oh yeah, that's going to cost over $100,000 to raise a family of 4 anymore. But they do, but which makes the point that we've been talking about this year is like the prices have gone up, they've stayed up, they are not easing off, they're just slowing down. This whole there's like a retreat of inflation is just they keep saying it in incorrect. And I don't want to say they're doing it on purpose, but they're not doing it accurately by saying that inflation is going down. When it's not going down, it's slowing its growth. That is very different. And this is what that looks like.
Yeah, and I also think that they do that on purpose just because they can't just, give such a good outlook and it not happen. So they also have to, I feel like, at a certain point, be able to, kind of mask themselves and say, hey, like, well, this is just, this could happen, but it can't happen. If we assure people that it's going to happen.
Well, okay, I get that. The actual math problem here, though, not the actual. There's numerous problems here, but the one I want to make a point about is that the income being unable to keep up with the rate of the cost to have a house that size. That is the real issue. Is that if it's running ahead of you so fast or so frequently and consistently compared to your income, which is maybe is inconsistently going at that same rate, you're just going to be chasing it forever until you make a change. Either reduce your debt, add income, get a side hustle, do a second job, start a business, something else. And, we see a lot of people doing that, of course. You even see articles coming out now, and we don't highlight them here on the show, but when I'm looking for show notes, I'm looking for articles to talk about for us, I'm seeing more and more articles about retirees going back to work because their retirement plus social security, not just social security. Their retirement plus social security isn't cutting it, and they have to go back to work. And I'm gonna tell you this: I was at Walmart the other day with my wife, and we were checking out getting our groceries. And the nice gentleman, his name was Michael, at the cash register, he's like, "Yeah, I'm not from here." He's like, "I'm not from here." He was from Montana. And he goes, "I'm here because I have family that lives here." He goes, "But I had to come out of retirement and get a job so I could afford the rest of my life to live."
Oh, God.
So he's like, "My retirement wasn't cutting it." And we're just at the cash register. I don't know this guy. He doesn't know me. And
He's just like, "Hey, buddy, this is my life."
But look, he was older. He was easily in his later 60s.
Okay.
I don't think he was in his early 70s. He was very much in his later 60s for sure. And he was just talking about like, yeah, I have all these hobbies. I love, going out to the wilderness. I like rock collecting and, all this other stuff. But he was like, I can't do it. And so, that's why I'm here. I hope you guys are having a good day. I'm having a good day. I'm just making the most of my situation. I'm like, dude.
And I mean, I can only imagine how much countless other stories are like that people are just literally like having to do what they have to do to make just ends meet at the end of the month.
They're like, watch around when you and Michelle are running errands around town. Like, look at how many people who are, let's say, in that, I'm just going to say the boomer generation.
I'm actually going to Walmart after work, so I'm going to, I'll definitely see that.
And look, we're there frequent enough that you notice when there's like new faces.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of new faces around there, and they're older than me, bro.
And now that you started mentioning that, I do like recall that when I go to Walmart, there's a lot of older employees.
Yes.
Like, and it's like it didn't just hit until you said that right now, and I'm like, wow.
Yeah. Just take survey. Like, it's not just Walmart. I'm sure there's other stores as well. Of course. I'm thinking just in the labor force in general. I think part of connected to this whole family of four thing. It's in researching coming up for the articles for this show. I'm also just seeing a lot of titles of news articles of talking about seniors that are having to go back to work because of the same issue.
Yeah.
It's just cost. So. Family of four, you got to be really making it somehow, or in a combination of ways, like you were talking, Brian, in order to afford, quote unquote, in each state to raise a family of four.
Or you could just have one of your kids become an influencer, and you could YouTube bunny.
What? Well, I guess this is on YouTube, right?
Yeah.
Just like a walking example of that. So,
hey.
Let's move to the mortgage rates.
That was rough, man.
That was hard.
That was.
Yeah, it is. It's tough, but we have to talk about it.
Yeah, I know.
It affects what we do for people here every single day. They're walking in with the problem. We're trying to help them solve the problem, or at least get into a home with the problem they currently have. And it's just something we confront off camera, and so it's worthy of talking on camera.